How you doing? I'm back with you today with another real estate discussion, and I want to go over something that can help a lot of people possibly to hear some of these things. And we're talking about homes with issues. And I'll give you an example. It's in my title up above. Uh, this house does not have a permit for that work that was done to it. Now, that's a big problem with the seller. They stress over that. They worry over that. It's really not as big a problem as they thought it was. You've heard the saying, death by 1,000 cuts. And that's probably what they lived through for 12 years owning the property, wondering if when they sold it one day, would that permit come back to haunt, lack of permit come back to haunt them. Well, if you have a good realtor, experienced realtor, usually these things can be dealt with, and they can be dealt with in a very concise manner and everybody's happy at the end. And so let's talk about that a little bit. Now, I've been in the business a long time. I have done a lot of problem solving in real estate for other people, for sellers, and getting houses through escrow and getting them sold to buyers. And some of the kinds of houses you have is lots of termite or dry rot damage, or probates or trusts or fixers or permits or other ordinances or county code inspections that violations. So anyway, I'm just going to devote this video to that and talk about it just a little bit. Now, I'm not going to endorse anyone doing work and not getting a permit. That's not a good sound thing to do. You must always get a permit. You should get a permit. I just want to be on record saying that, so that you don't think that we are at my company trying to skirt that issue. Doing things according to the law and the code is of critical importance to soundness for the future, for you and for subsequent owners to your property. So, however, often people inherit homes without permits. They also buy homes where there was no permit, and somehow they signed off and accepted it that way. Now, when they go to sell it, they have the problem. So now this is where my firm comes in, and I come in and like I said in another video I did recently, one man's problem is another man's opportunity. So there's an opportunity to solve the issue when you have a problem like this with a property. The permit thing is as much, let's say a room addition, there's no permit for a room addition. Now that happens a lot, and it should have been gotten. I will just stay on record. It should have been gotten by whoever put on that room addition, but they didn't, and you bought that house. And now you want to sell that house 15 years later, and you've been thinking about it ever since. And so now what needs to happen is the buyer needs to get an inspector who is knowledgeable to code, and there are many home inspectors like that. I have much more respect for the home inspector industry than I did when it first came out, 80s or 90s, whenever that was, because we used to have, the agents used to be your home inspectors. The seller and the agent did it together the day before close of escrow. They inspected the home together, and they ran the appliances, and they plugged things into the outlets. And now that's all done for us in these home inspections, whole house home inspections. So let's say you are selling that. Now, the buyer needs to inspect that house, and they need to be told by you there is no permit. And when they do that, then they can put the home inspector on notice that he's inspecting a room addition without a permit. And when he does so and he doesn't find anything against code, well, then all your listing agent, your seller agent has to do, if I'm representing you, is disclose properly in certain words that this home did not have a permit, but the home appears to be up to code according to to the home inspector, and there's never been a problem that the seller knows about with anything. So you can usually get off with that. You can usually get clear with that. In some cases, people will bring out a permit inspector from the county to actually go through and look at it all. And there's a fee for that. It's not that much, but that is, in an extreme case, that can be done. Usually you can get by without bringing the county into it. All you have to do is just have a agreement between the buyer and the seller and all the agents that everything is going to be fine and the new buyer is happy with that. So I believe that a good agent has a redemptive value to their people that they're representing. And I was told that once by a man of God. He was a missionary from South Africa. He was full of wisdom, and he took me to lunch one day. We were talking about it, and I was a young man, and but I am a Christian, and he was saying, Greg, if you intend to make a lot of money in business and build wealth from it and do very well at it, you need to have what you do has much redeeming value for other people, that you are a redeemer of their problems. And so redeeming value means you're solving their problems and you're bringing about a good resolution to them. And that is really how some of the greatest businesses and billionaires are made, and millionaires, is that they figured out a redeeming problem for the public, and then they brought it forth onto the market. So I believe that's what MFN Realty is all about, is we have some redeeming value in what we do because we've been practicing that for decades and solving people's problems. And we are sent many houses, problem houses. For example, somebody will, a lot of houses that are inherited, or they're in a family trust, or there's an elderly parent that is moving from out of a family home that has been occupied by them for 50 years, let's say, and they're moving out. Well, my wife and I have a lot of experience helping people make that transition out of their homes that they've had 50 years. Often their kids will call us in. They're grown kids who are handling everything. Their successor trustees or whatever they are will call us in, and then we help them make that transition. And all of a sudden, sometimes we find that the elderly person is hoarded a little bit, or that they have let certain deferred maintenance go. So, and I want to finish this with a little story about a problem property that I had. It was in Rockland. This guy bought this home, and it had a green belt behind it belonged to the city of Rockland. And there was a barbed wire fence, and it was 30 feet past his property line into the green belt, giving his house the look of a much larger backyard, and a beautiful backyard, a green belt backyard. And so, he had bought it that way 20 years before, and he was told by the past seller about the problem, that the fence was way out there beyond his property line, not on his proper property line. He took it that way. He enjoyed it all those years that he lived in it. But all those years, again, death by 1,000 cuts, it bothered him, and he worried every time he thought of it, how he would sell it someday with that issue. Well, when I took that listing and I took the problem over, we looked at that. I figured out where the real property line was. He even had been approached by a county person or a city person that is out there, looking and investigating that fence was not in a proper place, and it was on their land, the city's land. And so he even knew that. And so, however, the city guy also let slip in a friendly manner that they were not too worried about it. They had bigger things to do, and so they weren't going to make a big deal out of it at this time. Well, what I did is I chose to disclose that right up front in the listing, that that barbed wire fence. And by the way, he used to get a coyote come up and he'd feed that coyote through that fence. And that's how rugged that land was back there. But what happened was he would, I put it out there for all the realtors that showed the house. And a young man fell in love with the house. And I drew it up, I had it on paper, and I said, this fence is on the wrong side and it's on the city's land. However, the city doesn't seem too concerned about it. So my suggestion is that you accept it the way it is and enjoy it, but understand you're not getting that land out there. It belongs to the city. Understand that they could have that fence moved at any time, and then you'd have a little less backyard, about 30 feet less. And so that young man liked the house, and they bought the house, and he said, that'll be fine. I said, well, you'll need to sign this form and this disclosure that this is the case. He signed it. It was all put to bed. It was actually very low effort to solve that problem, but the problem was solved. Now, there's hundreds and thousands of cases out there like that that are pending right now, or that sellers are worrying about. If you're one of those sellers that has issues, even if it's not related to what I just discussed, give us a call to discuss it, and we may have a simple solution for you. I'm sure we can get you through it without seamlessly, without big issues or expense. So I'm going to let you go now. Subscribe if you're looking at this on YouTube, or click like on it if it's on my page, or if it's on our business page, go ahead and like our business page so you can get more videos like this. And if you know anyone, if you have an elderly parent, if you have someone with issues on their property, go ahead and have them give me a call, or you call me and I'll call them. And we can do it that way. You can refer us if you'd like. So God bless you. You have a wonderful day. Thank you for listening to this video.